All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's lovely to see you all. So let's go straight into the superpower state. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state however you normally do that. So by using your word or phrase or your anchor, or by focusing in on the subject, the person, animal, place, or activity you love and appreciate. And allow your heart to open. Allow that swell, that expansion feeling in your chest as you focus in on that feeling. And allow that light, that energy, that power to shine out from your heart. Very good. Feel that expansion feeling in your chest, and now allow that light, that energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. And now allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. You can imagine those little cells as little characters or bubbles. Whatever that is, fill each one, love each one just for existing. And now allow that light or energy to overflow from you and fill yourself as a child, any age. See that little you, imagine that little you being filled with that light, that energy, that love. Love that child just for existing. Good job. And now allow that light or energy to overflow from that little you and fill your whole childhood, no matter what, shining that light into any darkness, loving everything, everyone, every event, every circumstance, exactly as it is. Good job. And now allow that light or energy to overflow from you and fill everyone who's on the call today, everyone who's on camera, everyone who's off camera. Love each one just for existing. Whatever they're going through, whatever they're dealing with, shine that light into any darkness. And allowing yourself to receive that light, that energy, that love from everyone else. Good job. Very good. All right. So we can check in with each person now, find out how you're doing. So Katrina, you're first up. How are you today? Oh, I just remembered that question.
Yes.
All right, so I'll answer that now. So before we started recording, there was a discussion about the question, how are you? How are you doing, or how are you? And a lot of people find that awkward or uncomfortable or just annoying because of different reasons. So the question that came up, I believe, was, how do you handle that? So when someone asks you, how are you? How do you answer? And the solution to that for me is very simple. And when someone asks me that question, I mean, I always am. Nowadays, I'm always feeling good, but before my life changed, before everything changed for me, I started to translate the question as the person asked me. I started to translate it in my head into, how do I want to feel? How do I want to be? And I answered that question. So, you know, when someone says, how are you? If things are not going well for you, that's what everything that comes up. And then it's, you know, it's awkward to answer. But I started to answer how I wanted to feel, which is fabulous. And so when someone asked me how I am, even though I couldn't pay my bills, even though things were disappointing me and things were going wrong in my life, and I hadn't met Steve yet, I still said, I'm fabulous, thanks, how are you? That was my answer. Now, here's the thing, like with everything else, what we experience from other people and things that happen to us is always about the meaning we give to it. And the meaning is very often not conscious, it's unconscious. But when someone asks you, how are you? You could ask yourself, what does that mean to me? When someone asks me, how are you? Does it mean they're being, they're being trite and they don't really want to know how I am? Or does it mean, you know, that they're being intrusive? Or, you know, what does it mean to me when someone asks me how I am? And then you can find those limiting beliefs, because the truth is, someone asking you how you are, or asking you anything else, or saying anything else, is not physically imposing on you, is not doing anything to you. And you may or may not choose to answer. You may say, I don't want to answer that question, if that's how you feel. So there's nothing they can physically do about it. But you want to be in a position that you're not at the mercy of anything or anyone outside of you. So that when someone asks you, how are you? It's not about them, it's about you. It's not about them wanting to know, or that you have to tell them anything. It's about, yeah, good question. How do I want to be? What am I aiming for? What's my end result? And then answer the question, even if you don't answer them verbally, answer it in your own head, use it as an opportunity to really home in on that touchstone, that what do I want, not what is, not what's the location I'm in at the moment, what's the destination I want to get to. So if you're in the, you know, if you're in a horrible area of the city and you want to be at the beach and you plan to drive to the beach, you want to keep your focus on the beach, not on, and you want to make sure that that you are in alignment with the end destination, the beach. So I hope that helps, but let me know if there are any contradictions or questions, or how does that feel to you or seem to you, Katrina? Does it answer it, or is it, are there still some questions there?
I like the bit when someone asks me that I can reply with, good question, Odile. I don't really know at this moment, but let's move on.
Absolutely, and that's absolutely fine.
Is it?
Of course it is. So here's the thing as well. It's not about whether it's okay for someone else. It's about what's okay for me. Now, if that feels good to you, then that is the answer you give. Until something else feels good.
Okay.
Because it's your business and it's your prerogative as to how you're doing inside yourself. It's nobody else's business. It's nobody else's right to know. It is purely your business. It's happening inside you after all.
Well, I think it's because when I'm asked that and I'm not feeling upbeat, and I don't want to be saying what you're actually saying for me to be, to look into the future and well, I'm feeling fabulous. To me, that's lying to me.
Good. Now, if you leave here, not here, where you are, and you go on holiday somewhere, and when you think of, do you think about where you're going to at all? When you look forward to it and you think, oh, it's going to be nice once I'm there, and you think about perhaps what you'll do. Now, as you do that, that's not lying, right? Because you're not there yet, but your focus is there. You imagine that you're there because that's what happens when you think about it. Your subconscious immediately puts you there in your mind. So you may see the beach or the whatever, or you may see yourself having fun or relaxing. So that's not lying, that's planning.
Okay, yeah. I
That's
get it.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Very good. All right. But still, what is above that is that it is still your prerogative and your choice if you want to do that or not. There is no should. There is absolutely, in fact, everything that we teach and share and do is not about you should do it. It's about this is the option and these are the results. So if you do this, then that, and then it's up to you whether you choose to do that or not. And we certainly have no judgment and no, so it's like if someone's hungry and you say, well, if you eat this salad, it'll give your body nutrients. And if you eat this donut, you won't get the same nutrients. Then it's up to the person. Well, no, I want the donut. Then absolutely fine, as long as you know. And then it's about respecting your choice, and it's about you respecting your choice as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect. Yes, thank you.
Good, very good. You're very welcome, and thank you for asking it, because it's going to help others as well. And so, did you have any other questions today, or anything else to share?
Yeah. Before I came on camera, I was sitting and this is the third day of not looking at anything. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, right, I'm starting to questioning whatever. So I'm starting to get left behind. It's now time to lose interest. So what's driving this mood? So up until now, it was like a motorway,
yep.
Constant. And now it's like, once I take the foot off the pedal,
yep.
Then it's like, I'm not going to catch up again. And then I drop out.
Ah, very good. That's a good one. All right. So first of all, for others as well, when you come close to a big change, a core foundational change, there's usually resistance. Almost everyone has resistance to continuing. And that is, like I've said before, it's the same as muscles. When you start strengthening your muscles, there's the heavier weights it starts to become more, heavier, of course, but it's because you have to be able to lift those weights in order to make your muscles stronger. And when all athletes and anybody learning any kind of skill comes to a point where they would give up because it's too difficult, or it hurts too much, or it looks like it's not going to work, whatever that is. And a lot of people do stop at that point. And those who keep going are the ones who are determined, and those are the ones who become, professional or, Olympic and so on. And it's why not everybody becomes an Olympic athlete or professional anything. So, so the answer to that is, of course, there's a program there as well. So first of all, that's normal to have resistance. And now let's look at the program. So that experience of, if I take my foot off the gas or the foot off the pedal, then I'm never going to catch up. That feeling, where in your childhood did you have it? And it may be a different topic, but it'll be the same feeling.
It's a feeling, that feeling of being left behind.
Good.
Is that what I said? Yeah.
Yes.
It's been left behind. It's I'm not understanding something, or if I get left behind, then I didn't have the courage to ask questions.
Yes.
This was at primary school and boarding school, and I always sat and would have said to myself, "Oh, please don't ask me a question." Please don't. The whole time I learned nothing, because I just had this mantra: "Don't ask me. I don't want to know. I don't know."
So that is excellent, Katrina. And can I just take a side thing to say, how incredible and brilliant and admirable it is that you have been so engaged in this group, considering you've got that in your childhood. That's pretty amazing that you've been able to override that to a certain extent to be able to ask questions and get the help and move forward. So I want to first of all say that's very impressive. And if you can do that, you can do the rest. Absolutely. It just takes changing a little bit more of those references. So in school, so that feeling, let's just check earlier if in case there's something at home before you went to school, if you have any memories, what were there any experiences of bad consequences for asking something, for asking a question or speaking out in any way? And it may not have been before you actually started school, but you know, before boarding school. So something at home, if there's nothing, doesn't matter.
This thing, you know, children should be seen and not heard. So we didn't ask questions.
Yes.
You know.
And how did you learn that children should be seen and not heard?
Well, that was always a rhyme of my dad's.
Good, very good. And so, do you have a memory of him saying it?
Yeah, but we were a bit older. Older as in what? I don't know, 12.
That's okay.
He would have been in other people's houses in the family circle, and they were all talkers. The children, he was there for business, and the children were round and interrupting, and
yes,
you know, so he would come back and he would say, you know, it's no place, you know, something, you know.
Right. Yes, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. So now let's change it to the opposite, positive and empowering. If you can, if you can't, we'll just do some more. But so your dad comes back and says, you know, I love to see children having fun. Something like that. It's so good to see a family being able to be together. You know, that's why I love the work we do, because we can have our families with us. The kids can be involved. They can be enjoying themselves. There's nothing better than seeing children having fun.
No, that's what happened, because he's trying to do business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's your conscious mind arguing that, right? Because in your imagination, he could be, you know, riding a unicorn and you know, selling moonbeams. Your subconscious won't question it. So whatever it takes, now it may take changing his childhood so that he was running around and everything when his parents were doing business. Now, and I know this well because we were brought up the same. You speak when you're spoken to, you don't interrupt, and we used to get a clout for, you know, for interrupting or speaking out of turn. So I know it well, and I was brought up in a very professional, you know, show business family, very strict. Work was our religion. Work was above everything else. If you wanted to get out of anything, like a family do, a wedding or a visiting someone, if you said you were working, that was absolutely fantastic. That was the only, you couldn't say you were ill. You couldn't say anything else, but if you were working, that was the top most acceptable, the only acceptable excuse. So very, very strict, very, very professional, always on show, always presentable, always behaving. Now, if I can change it, you can too, anyone can. So in my mind now, everybody's relaxed, kids are running around, we're all having fun. We, in fact, water fights, water pistol fights in the house while business is going on. And now they have different career. Now they're what you call it, teachers and authors, and doing trading, doing stock exchange. So the computers are there, we're running around shooting water pistols, and they're just going, oh, it's so funny, and they shoot back a little bit. And so because subconscious doesn't care.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, but I will give it a go, yes.
That's all right. And so if you need to change his childhood. Sorry, Steve.
Okay.
And I was going to jump in with, as I was doing this work for myself, borrowing from other characters. So I'm kind of I've been a longtime fan of Abraham Lincoln. So I've read a lot of biographical stuff about Abraham Lincoln, and the way that he interacted with his children was amazing. So I borrowed from that, so that some of his biographers, his partners in law when he was a lawyer, were irritated with the fact that he just allowed his kids to come into the office, and they basically had complete run of the office. So it was just kind of unheard of at that time. But I'm just imagining the kind of father that he was, and that his kids were always the most important thing, and that it was just fun. And then when he became president and moved into the White House, one of his sons had a pet donkey that they allowed into the White House, and it had free reign inside the White House. So I'm thinking, how fun is that? That's the kind of parents that I wanted to have. That's the kind of family, that's the kind of culture that I wanted to live in, that children were not only seen and heard, they had equal run, they had free run of that. So imagining that and putting that into your childhood, giving those characteristics. So if you can't imagine your father being that way, can you borrow from somebody that you may resonate with, and practice imagining that feeling until you can put that feeling in your father together?
Okay, that's my homework, yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Steve. That's a fantastic example. Beautiful. All right. So yes, Katrina, so just keep practicing and doing whatever it takes, because remembering, and for everyone else as well, remembering there are no memory police, and no one even knows what you're doing in your head. So you have free reign of your mind, and you get to choose. It doesn't matter whether your father would have or wouldn't have, or you could put fairy wings on him. No one's going to care. No one's going to know. Right? You do what you feel like doing, what feels good to you.
Okay.
Okay. And it doesn't have to be what we've suggested either. We're giving you examples and suggestions, and then you decide, yeah, I want that, I'll take that, I'll leave that, whatever it is. Does that sound good?
Yeah, yes.
Good.
Thanks a million.
Thanks for sharing them. All right. And Lisa. Hi, Lisa. How are you today?
Oh, fine. Today is Think Amazing Thoughts Thursday.
Nice. Good.
So today, this is going to crack you up. Okay, so I thought of you, Odile, but in this little ball, a minion ball, it has, but it's so funny. There's a singer.
Ah, very good.
And it was so funny because it's a minion with a wig,
Sweet.
I laughed my ass off when I saw it.
Very good.
I'm sorry, I didn't. You might want to cut that out. So anyway, okay, so I found one I'm going to read. It's I Am Good Enough. So, and it was funny too, because yesterday there was thoughts when I was driving. You know how you're driving, you have these thoughts. And I was like, okay. So I was thinking, oh, that one's good. I was like, I've always felt like when I was little, I wasn't good enough. So I was like, and then I turned this page and I opened it up in the book. You know how you do the random things, So if there is any belief within you that says you can't have or you're not good enough, think to yourself, I am willing to let that belief go. I do not have to believe that anymore. And then please do not struggle. It is not hard work. You are just changing a thought. You are born to enjoy life and be in the loving place in your thoughts. You are just changing a thought. You're born to enjoy life. Affirm that you are now willing to open to the abundance and prosperity that is available everywhere. You now claim this mentally for yourself right now. Here, I deserve prosperity. I deserve love. I deserve all that is good. And then it manifests in your experience. And it's just, yay.
Very good.
Yay.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. And it's also made me think of an article I wrote a while ago, quite a few years ago. And and I think this is a great analogy for those talking about not good enough, and for anyone who is criticizing and judging themselves. So if you imagine there's a horse, there's a beautiful horse, and you come across this horse, and the people who owned it have been beating it and starving it and treating it really badly. Now you get this horse, you rescue the horse, you buy it or you steal it or you rescue it somehow. You end up with this horse that's been so badly treated, beaten and everything. Now you hitch a cart to this horse and you want it to pull the cart. What we do is we take the stick or the whip from the people who raised us, and we continue to beat that poor horse and starve it. And that is not going to make the horse pull the cart. What we need to do is take the horse, care for it, allow it to heal, and treat it differently to the way the previous owners treated it. Which means we need to we take over from the people who raised us, and we continue it. We do it unconsciously, of course, and most of the time we don't realize we're doing it. So we're criticizing and judging and being really hard on ourselves, including not allowing ourselves to have fun or feel, not allowing that child in us to be silly or have fun. We pick up that stick and we continue going with that, take over the role of the people who raised us. And what we want to do is do the opposite. Treat that horse, in other words, treat ourselves with kindness, compassion, the way that we should have been treated as children. So thank you for, because then the horse becomes strong enough and healthy enough to pull the cart. Then we become strong enough and healthy enough to get the results we want to get in our lives. So I hope that helps others as well. Thank you, Lisa, for that.
Oh, sure. I wanted to add, so this morning when I was walking, there was these little kids, and then it was so funny how I was talking about the author thing. There was these two adults and then these other little kids, because I had given a lot of my books, in the neighborhood because there's kids at home. And so they came up running to me today, and that was really interesting. They said, "Can you sign my books?"
Ah, fantastic.
So I started laughing because it's like, I was talking about that to the group yesterday. I was like,
yes,
there's a long line of people having me sign the groups. That's fun.
Fantastic. Look at that. And that is also a really good example of allowing yourself to have that experience. So allowing yourself to be the child, to change your childhood so that you were able to, that you had all those experiences as a child and all of that. And so letting go or doing whatever it takes to let go of how you were raised and how you were treated. So well done, Lisa. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And I'm so excited for the children who will get to read your book, to get to benefit from your books, that don't know it yet, that don't know about them yet. It's very.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right. And Chris, you're up next. How are you today?
Well, I'm also fantastic.
Good.
In every sense of the word. I am. And I heard myself say something this morning, which you know this, you resonate with it. I just heard myself saying, I really love myself. I really love my life.
Good.
And I thought, oh, that's what Odile says. Yeah, it was a very good moment. And
fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And so for everybody else as well, even before you have that feeling, say it over and over with the feeling. We can conjure up feel-good emotions on demand if we practice without the outside changing yet. And then once you've done that, it starts to become spontaneous. So thank you, Chris, for sharing that. Good job.
Yeah, and I've just read Sue commenting, and rightly so, that sometimes if you do say something like, oh yeah, I'm feeling good, but you might feel, oh well, who am I pretending, or am I trying to cover up, or doesn't feel genuine. And I linked with Tina
everyone here will know Tina yesterday, and she made a comment. She said, "Oh, Chris, you always look happy and you always look cheerful." You know, and I get that, and I love it. I love it about myself, and I'm very extremely grateful, because it's a default that that I have. I have a pattern of that, which I do thank my family for. But I also know it's taken, you know, since I was the age of 40 when I started this journey.
Yes.
It's been a long journey, and nevertheless, here we are. And I can say I love my life, and I say it with great genuineness now.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Good job, Chris. And yes, so let me answer that.
Come along, everyone. Come along. You know, I do my exercise every day. I can tell you that, and it's not always easy. I can tell you that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So come along, everyone.
Just come in. The water's lovely. Come on,
and it's raining. It's raining, and I love my life.
Good. And so here's the thing as well. So I want to answer Sue's question right now, since you pointed it out. So Sue says, I have a concern about saying I feel fantastic if I am feeling really bad. At what point is it denial? And that is such a great question, because a lot of people have that, and I used to wonder that as well. And so here, let me just think about how to process this. When you say, I feel fantastic, you are choosing your destination. So instead of looking where you are, you're going, and the reason for this is because the subconscious doesn't get the words, I'm going to, or I have done. It is, you know, if I want to feel fantastic, but I'm at the moment I'm feeling bad is where I am and where I'm going to stay. You go in the direction you're looking. So if you're looking at where you are, then you stay where you are. You know, if you're walking and you're looking at your feet, you're going to fall over eventually. And if you're looking at the ugly scenery, then that's the direction you're going to go in. If you want to get to the beach, you need to be looking in the direction of the beach. Now, when you say, I feel fantastic, and you don't feel fantastic, what you're doing is setting the destination. And it's nobody else's business as to whether you're feeling fantastic and you're saying you're feeling, or you're feeling bad and you're saying you're feeling fantastic. It's nothing to do with them. And, you know, as long as you don't even have to say it out loud, just say it in your mind, because you're setting the destination. And here's the thing, there are a lot of things that we are in denial about and that we say that are not beneficial, right? So there's a lot of things like, oh, I'm so stupid. Well, that's not true, but we say it, and it's not beneficial. So, and there's a lot of stuff like, I'm not worth it, oh, I can't do anything, or whatever we say when we're in those negative states. That's not true either. You might as well choose something that's not true, that's actually going to benefit you, that's actually going to get you where you want to go. So it would be denial if you weren't planning it. So if you went, I'm at the beach, but you have no intention of ever going, and you're not, you know, getting in the car, you're just sitting in the mud, feeling bad, going, yeah, I'm at the beach, I'm at the beach. Well, yeah, that might be denial. But if you want, or if you don't want to feel fantastic, if you don't want to feel fantastic and you say you feel fantastic, then that's denial. But if you know that you want to feel fantastic and you're planning to get to a point where your life is fantastic and you feel fantastic, then that is not denial. So this is, it's such a great topic, because also, and I put a post similar to this on Facebook this morning, if you think about the people who invented the horseless carriage, electricity, the internet, at some point they were in denial. At some point, people were saying to them, you can't, a cart can't make itself go. You have to have, if it's not a horse, you have to have something else pulling it. And these people went, no, horseless carriage. I'm going to create something that moves by itself. How in denial is that? So being in denial, so-called denial, is about moving forward and not being stuck in the same old stuff. It's about setting your sights beyond what appears to be possible right now, because if you don't set your sights beyond it, you'll never get, you know, if those people just went, oh, I wish we could create a horseless carriage. Why can't we have a horseless carriage? You know, I'm sure it must be possible, but I don't know how. We don't have the ability right now. And somebody says, so how's the horseless carriage go? Well, I don't know. I don't think it's possible. We don't have it right now. We would never have ended up with cars. Somebody along the way went, it's going great, even though it was failing and they couldn't find, I mean, the amount of, you know, work and experimenting and failure that must have gone into that. And of course, the, you know, the famous thing about light bulbs and things like that, the amount of failure, and it's not right now, it's not happening right now, that is necessary. And the amount of so-called denial of going, it's going great, I'm getting there, it's happening, I'm doing this, that it takes to end up with what you want. And the fabulous news is that what we are doing in order to feel fabulous doesn't take anywhere near as much effort and time and failure as those people had to create what they did. So I hope that helps to clarify it, but please let me know if there's still, I am aware of that, but if I say I feel X, Y, Z, is that different? So I'm not sure what you mean by that. So if you say, I feel fabulous, for example, and you're not, is that what you mean? And then is that different? I'm
going to chime in, and
yeah.
Because I did respond in the chat to that as well, but and I would say that,
oh, I see, that's why
feeling or recognizing that you're experiencing something is different than using the words I am.
Mm-hmm.
When you say I am blank, you are essentially saying that's what I am, that I've become that emotion, as opposed to I'm experiencing that emotion. So there's a difference there. Mm-hmm. And I believe that I am are two very important and powerful words for your subconscious, and your subconscious is sitting there waiting as a loyal servant, waiting for you to complete that sentence. I am what? I am depressed. And your subconscious goes, okay, yep, I can handle that. We're on that. Mm-hmm. And you can maintain those feelings, and you can maintain that state. Or you can say, you know what, I'm experiencing this feeling. I'm experiencing some depression right now. And we have some techniques that we've used. You know, it's like you can send love to that. You can acknowledge it. You can be with it, but you don't have to become it. Mm-hmm. So the language that you're using is powerful.
Okay, thank you, Steve, for clarifying that. That explains why Sue asked that. And so her question now is, but what if she says she feels horrible or bad in some way? So that was the question. So, I mean, you can. So here's the thing. So after what Steve's just said, I'm going to add a little bit to what I said. So thank you so much for bringing this up, Sue. It's very important. And so if you're saying I'm sad or I'm depressed, you know, that what Steve has just said applies. Now, if you say I feel horrible, you still have the choice in that moment. So you can, absolutely, you can say I feel horrible. You could follow it with I feel horrible, but I am fabulous, or, you know, what I am, whatever I want, whatever you want to be. But that might not work when you're feeling horrible. So, and you don't have to not say it. So it's not wrong to say it. It's not wrong to turn your wheel off the road and go, trotting around in the, go and explore the bad scenery. Nothing wrong with it at all. It's just understanding that while you're doing that, you're not heading towards where you want to be. Now, you could spend some time in that ugly scenery and not niceness and the swamp, and then eventually you can turn around and get back on the road. And that's what most of us do. Most of us spend a lot of time off the road in the ugly scenery before coming back. The other day I was feeling horrible, and I was talking to him, and those feelings dissipated. And it popped up again, it went up, and it's like I felt I was being heard. That's a fantastic insight. Well done. And so what the other part of this that I was going to add is, you can acknowledge that piece of you. You can, that part of you that feels horrible, you can use that technique that we introduced a while ago, which is, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, I love you. I see you, I hear you, I feel you, I love you, whatever that piece is, without needing it to change. And then get back on the road when you can. Like you say, you started to feel better, and then you can get back on the road, and then check your childhood. Where were you not heard? Where in your childhood were you trying to let people know you were not okay and nobody was listening? And change it. So you can do a stepping stone where you're saying to them, listen, I'm not okay, or whatever it was that happened. And they go, what? And they drop everything and they focus on you and they acknowledge, and then they help change whatever it is, or they correct it, whatever that is. Stepping stone 3 times. And then the final memory is that you are always heard, and you're always talking about, anything you want to, and everybody's focus. They drop, like I've said before, make sure that you enter a room, your parents drop everything and their faces light up every time you walk in. That is a really important and powerful reference to establish in your subconscious. So, and then as soon as possible, get back on the road by telling yourself, like Sue was giving the example, I love my life, even when you don't feel it. So again, that's setting the destination. So I hope that helps, but let me know if you need more. All right. Kathy says, maybe say, I feel horrible, but I am still wonderful. I love that. Yes. So that's another option right there. I feel horrible, but I am still wonderful. If you can do that, that's great. I created some memories with my parents. So this is someone else. I created some memories with my parents where they listened to me if I felt bad, and listened to me, and I was safe to tell how I feel, and it was okay to feel bad. And they comforted me, and I felt heard and seen. To me, this was also an underlying issue when I heard the question, how are you? And actually, I think she typed that before I gave that little piece of that little technique. So that's brilliant. Thank you, Ilya, for sharing that. And hopefully that helps others as well, to give you that reference, creating where you got that as a child, and then when you're all right. So hopefully that, and Sue just clarifies him being Steve. So when you were speaking to Steve and you said you felt horrible, when she was speaking to Steve the other day, and she was saying she was feeling horrible and talking to him, those feelings dissipated because she felt like she was being heard. Absolutely. So give those qualities to your parents as well. So I hope that, because everything is about that child needing to feel safe. And feeling safe means being heard, being acknowledged, being valued, being, receiving affection, feeling like you are valuable and you're going to survive. So all of those, give them to you, the little you from your parents. Because trying to get them from people in your life right now is not going to work, because even if they give that to you, it won't be satisfied, because your subconscious is still referring to the fact that you didn't get it as a child. So that's why that's so important. So hopefully that helps. All right. So Chris, was there anything else you wanted to ask or say? No. Okay. And Swasti is next. Hi, Swasti. How are you today?
Hello. I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
So this is on a very similar topic. So when Katrina said it, I said, oh, that's my kind of
Perfect.
question today as well.
Synchronicity.
So I also haven't been doing the work for 2 days.
Okay.
I have tried to. I've sat down and then I've like started crying or something, and I haven't felt that for a long time. Like when I started this work and when I found your method. That's only happened twice, and this was the second time. And so I was like, okay, so what's happening here?
Good.
And I think
Well done.
I think it's because I was about to, like you said, make a big change. So there's one memory that is quite significant, which is getting a really bad score and my parents saying like, this is good. So I was about to change that, which links to a lot of things. And I haven't been able to because
Fantastic.
yeah.
That is such a great sign that you couldn't do it. I know that sounds contradictory, but it means that it's key. Like you said, it's linked to a lot of other things. So let's look at it. So tell me what happened when you tried to change it. So you've got this memory and you tried to change it. What happened?
So I actually did have like steps, because you helped me with this before. This has been going on for a while and I've been trying, like the steps are quite long, I think. So I even wrote them down.
All right.
Because it's just complex. So when I try to change it, I have to go back to my grandparents to be able to say that, to be able to make my parents say that to me. So my grandma's mum is not nice to her, and my mum's mum is kind of toxic to my mum.
Yes.
And then my dad is always stressed. So I was like, okay, and I can't seem to change them. So I was gonna write due justice letters to every single person.
Good. So yes, due justice may well be the thing that unsticks you there. But let's look at your mum's mum. Your mum's mum? Your mum's mum.
Yeah.
Okay. So your mum's grandmother, right, is the first one that you tried to change, is it?
My mum, my grandmother, my mum's mum.
Your mum's mum. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you try to imagine your mum's mum differently, what happens inside you?
So I wrote a letter to her before, so she turned a bit nicer, but then there's still some like anger for her because she's a bit mean.
Right. Okay. And so so she's mean. Now, have you changed her childhood?
I think so, but I've actually forgotten because this has been going for a long time.
Yes.
Maybe the memory didn't become established, perhaps as well.
Okay. So what stands out? So she's mean. In what way is she mean, or what stands out? How's this represented inside you?
Like hiding behind her parents, laughing at people.
Hiding behind her parents, laughing at people as a child?
Yeah.
Okay. Because as an adult, that would be, well, possible. All right. So let's see. So let's decide what we want to end up with. So she's hiding behind her parents, laughing at people. And can you change it to she's hiding behind her parents, playing hide and seek? Or something like that.
Yeah, but she's still mean.
She's still mean, and her meanness is expressed in laughter.
Yeah, and pointing at kids, like the other kids.
Laughing and pointing. Okay, so let's look at see if there's an anchor in this. So did you ever experience people pointing and laughing at you?
Yeah.
Or at some, you did?
Yeah. Here when I came, well, racism.
Okay, that's why you can't change it. That's the anchor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because as you try and change her from pointing and laughing, your subconscious is going, no, there's proof. This is true. This is what people do.
Okay.
Very, very good. All right. So about how old were you when you experienced the pointing and laughing racism?
7.5 to 8 years old.
Good. Okay. So now you want to go there and change that. So just very briefly, how, so you were in school when that happened?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in school, so you want to, you see them pointing and laughing or whatever they said, whatever that was, you want to change that. make that the opposite, positive and empowering, so that they are, you are, you know, revered, and, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so clever, I wish I could be like you, that kind of thing. Those same kids who did it. Make sure that they, and if you need to change their childhoods, do that as well, because for everyone else as well, children are not born with anything like judgment, criticism, racism, bigotry, none of that. No child is born with that. Just like everything else, they learn it through their experiences growing up. So if you change their childhoods, then automatically they would have been different. So change it to the opposite, positive, empowering, establish that really well, and then see if you can change your grandmother from pointing and laughing to the opposite, positive, empowering, and then see if that helps you move forward. And if not, we'll address it again tomorrow.
Okay.
Or we'll just take the next step tomorrow if you have been able to do that.
Okay.
That sound good?
Yeah, thank you.
Good. You're very welcome, Swasti. Good job.
So do I also need to change my, like the other ones I was talking about? Is this like the first step?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I would say the first step, because that event when you were 7.5 to 8 years old of the racism and the pointing and laughing, that seems to be an anchor that's holding the other things in place. So you try and change them, but the anchor is still there. When you change that anchor, then you may be able to, you may find that you're able to move forward with everything else.
Write your favorite thing on here.
All right. Does that sound good?
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. You're very welcome, Swasti. Thank you for sharing. All right. So I think that's everybody on camera. Steve, is there anything I haven't answered from the chat that needs answering?
No, I think I've stayed on top of it all. No, I think we're good to go.
Oh, there's something here, such synchronicities with Swasti and Katrina. I was feeling very sad and anxious today, but I know that it's because I'm facing big changes in my life, even though I wanted these changes. Please add me in the target today. So you've done that, Steve. Fantastic. Yes, that's true. Even when things, you know, we want things to change. So when we start getting happier, it can start to feel uncomfortable because it's not, you know, it's stiff muscles when we're changing the core foundation, you know, established patterns. All right. So Steve, if you could send me the targets, and I will, let's go into it. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state, however you do that. And feeling your heart opening, that expansion feeling in your chest, allowing that to happen. Allowing yourself to feel that love, allowing that light to shine out from you, that light, that energy. Very good. And allowing that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. And now allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes. We've done that bit. Now allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each one just for existing. Very good. And now allow that light or energy to fill your subject, focusing on all the things you love about them, all the things you appreciate. And now imagine that they don't want to be with you, or they don't have those qualities that you love and appreciate about them, and keep them filled with that light, that energy, that love, loving them anyway, no matter what. Shining that light into any darkness, exactly as it is. Good job. And now let's go to Lisa. Fill Lisa with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Lisa, just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Lisa and fill everyone else, whether they have breakthroughs or not, and no matter what their financial situations and events are. Love it all anyway, exactly as it is, shining that light into any darkness. Good job. And now to Chris. Fill Chris with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Chris, just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Chris and fill the part of her that has trouble with pre-paving, whatever that is, whatever it means. Shine that light into any darkness and love it exactly as it is, whether she's able to pre-pave or not. Love it all anyway. Good job. And now to Swasti. Fill Swasti with that same light, that energy, that love, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Swasti, just for existing. Now allow that light, that energy to overflow from Swasti and fill the part of her that's been having the challenge changing her grandmother to her mother. Fill that part with that same light, that energy. Fill those memories with that light, that energy, exactly as they are, even if she never changes them, shining that light into any darkness. Very good. And now to Katrina. Fill Katrina with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Katrina, just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Katrina and fill everything and everyone in her life, no matter what. And the part of her that sometimes doesn't feel good, no matter how she's feeling and no matter what she answers. Love it all anyway, exactly as it is, shining that light into any darkness. Very good. And now to all of those off camera, all of those who are on the call today and off camera, fill all of those people with the same light, that love. Filling them from the tips of their toes to the top of their head and out to their fingertips. Love them exactly as they are, no matter what. And the person who was feeling very sad and anxious today because of facing big changes in her life, even though she wanted those changes, fill that person now with that same light, that energy, that love, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips, loving her exactly as she is and just for existing. Filling the sadness and the fear, the anxiousness, the changes, whatever the results will be, loving it all exactly as it is. Very, very good. And to those watching the recording, those who are off camera, fill each one with that light, that energy, from the tips of their toes to the top of their head and out to their fingertips. Love each one just for existing, no matter what. and allowing that light, that energy to overflow from each person and fill their whole lives. All the events, all the circumstances, all the people, all the experiences with this light, this power, this energy, this love, loving it all exactly as it is, shining that light into any darkness. And surging. Good job. And now think of yourself later today, whatever you'll be experiencing, whatever you'll be feeling or doing, love that version of you exactly as you are, filling that version of you with light and energy, no matter what, shining that light into any darkness. And now pick a target, something or someone that triggers you, either in your life or in the world, and fill that target with the same light, this energy. Aim this power at that target and shine this light into any darkness, making sure that you're loving it exactly as it is, no matter what, without needing it to change. That's your power. And surge. Very good. And surge one more time. Good job. All right, you can open your eyes if you have them closed. And hope that was good for everyone today. And of course, we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. And keep practicing, keep watching the recordings, and to remind yourself, so even those sessions that you were on live or that you've watched before, watch them again, because you'll get the information on different levels, in different ways, you know, as you move forward. As you make changes in your own brain, you will absorb stuff and process stuff differently each time. All right, so hope that was good for everyone. Take care of yourselves. Lots of love to all of you, and see you tomorrow. Bye.